Hey all, welcome to my channel. Just going to talk about today. It's out of the norm a little bit, but more so reality TV. Watching the Vanderpump Rules reunion part two. Um, it was interesting to say the least. It wasn't as anticlimactic. It was more anticlimactic than anticipated. I mean, based on the first episode, first part one, that was great. I thought it was unbelievable. The only thing, it was really weird to see like both James and Lala literally disrespecting Lisa right then and there. But then again, at the same time, it's Lisa basically defending Tom, and even Ariana was like, says like, our relationship might change, and even Lisa's like, well, I don't want blah, etc. Basically, you saw that in part one. Part two, it was still a case where she was still Lisa was still defending Tom a little bit. I mean, to the point where like how um, Lala was being acting as like a bully, and Lala as well as Katie. Let's be honest, they were the mean girl bullies. When Lala's like, "Well, we're all old enough," you can still bully at an age at any appropriate at any age. Basically, let's put it that way. You can bully at any age. The fact that Lala was saying that only brings up to the point where it's like it's going to be interesting to see what happens as years progress. And for those parents that understand, you'll know. So hopefully that doesn't happen. But for her to say like, "Oh, well, we're old enough now," it's like, no, you can be bullied at any age at one point or another. It's one of the things where you try to avoid that. And the fact is like both her, Katie, and even of course Stassi and Kristen at the time, they were all pretty much acting like mean girls. It's like their own clique and their mean girl type of thing. And there was the same thing with Lala at that point as well too, Rachel. But at the same time, it was looking back at it now it's warranted. But at the same time, but without the fact of like that, whole aspect of them, with the Scandoval situation, if you take that away, yeah, then Lala was acting like a bully in a ways as well too, honestly. Because and Katie with her aspect of like with Tom Schwartz not being able to date anyone within the group. I mean, honestly, I would not be surprised if she kissed someone within the group, or she was going to go. Well, granted, there's no one in the group now that she could go after, but in reality, I'm pretty sure she would have done that. If there was like a hot bartender or hot server that was there, she would have went after him immediately, and they were part of the group. She wouldn't have went after him at that point quite instantly. So I think that's a double. I hate to say it, Schwartz was somewhat right about the fact that she does have a double standard. It was a double standard on her part, and the hypocrisy makes absolute sense. At the same time, though, Schwartz, I could sort of see now what he was trying to do. I think he's trying to create that comedic relief. It seems like more of from the fact is like I've done it every now and then as well too. If I'm in an uncomfortable situation, I start making things like throwing jokes or start making fun of things and such, to the point where like I try to avoid a tough situation or avoid confrontational situations and try to like make things light on the matter for whatever it is and be sort of that comic relief. But at the same time, he was acting idiotic in certain cases, which made no sense whatsoever. So that's on him, to be quite honest. And the other aspect is like the fact is it's like he wasn't defending Sandoval, but yet he was. I mean, it's one of those things. I think he's got to realize, like, what, Sandoval is going to throw him under the bus. He's got to look out for himself. He's got to look out for numero uno. But the thing is, for him, I think he likes to look at the positive of people. So I think that's where me and Schwartz sort of resemble an aspect. Is like the fact is like we like to look at the best of people, not the worst of, and also at the same time try to appease other people's feelings without hurting them. But at the same time, also, if there's some confrontational aspects or some friction that's going on, be that comic relief. Try, bring in some, light humor into the matter, even though it's not supposed to be. Honestly, for me, that was one of those things. For me, I have to take that in life. Basically, I have to not take things seriously. If I do, God help us all, because it's one of those things where when I become serious, I don't like to become serious, to be quite honest. But in any case. And I think Schwartz might have that same situation. I like I said, I've never really seen all the entire seasons of VPR, But at the same time, looking at Schwartz, I could see that he's one of those people that doesn't like to be that confrontation. Even though when he does get confronted, he goes crazy. But that's a different story. Um, the one thing that was really interesting though was after the break where Sandoval went back to Raquel's trailer basically, and they were trying to get the cameras out. So like they were talking, and then they walked out. He comes back and he's asking the cameras, "Hey, the camera crew and producers, hey, can you like shut it off? I just need to talk to her. Like just need to talk to her. I need a break, a break." But in reality, that's not the case. That wasn't true. You know what he was doing. We all know what he was doing. He was basically setting it up so that he can get his story straight with her, because Schwartz basically screwed up their storyline, because he told Schwartz, "Oh yeah, whatever it is," but Schwartz says like, "No, it was in August after just after when they were in a hot tub or something like that." So, in that perspective, Sandoval realized, I screwed up. I'm going to look like the bad guy. I got to make sure my story's straight with Raquel. And that's why they're trying to do it outside of the camera. Because, see, Sandoval is fully aware of what's going on. He knows how to play the cameras. He's trying to play the cameras. He's trying to play the innocent act. He's trying to play, he's kind of like trying to act a little bit. So it's one of those things. So when he said basically to the camera crew, "Hey, I need a break. The reason why he needed that break was because the fact is he needed to go over the story and make sure that their stories were tight, that their alibis with each other were tight. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with part 3, but also the other aspect is like looking at the Peacock network, after the part 3 airs, to see the extended scenes, as well as, unedited scenes. It'd be great if we could see some of the unedited scenes for that matter. It'd be great to see that. That'd be great to see. But that was one of the big things that I saw like that in that situation. That's when I realized, what, Sandoval has been caught in a lie. And the fact is, the best part was even Ariana was telling him, and I think season 1, basically, you basically tried to get my story straight when he was cheating on Kristen, so that everything went through. And she was saying, you were coaching him, even though he tried to reverse, "Oh, you were coaching me." Honestly, whether maybe back and forth in that situation, the thing is, it's like when he goes into a lie, he needs alibis and he needs people with him so he doesn't look like a jerk. So in this situation, his reputation is gone. He thinks by coming to the reunion as well as Raquel, they could probably try to do some damage control. Not happening. I mean, so far it doesn't look like that's happening. There are cases, like I said, to the point where, where Lala, even though part of it could be justified, part of it can't be entirely justified as well, too, to be quite honest. In reality, I loved how Andy Cohen asked every one of them, outside of Lisa and Katie, is like, is the hypocrisy big enough with all you guys here, to the point like everyone's cheated with someone at one point or another. And in that aspect, it was interesting to hear that, because when he said that, I'm wondering if Katie did cheat on Tom. I mean, there had to have been a case where she had to have cheated on Tom. I would not be entirely surprised, quite honestly. She might have that good girl look, but in reality, look, Ariana, Kristen, Stassi, Lala, they've all cheated. Why would she be different from the norm? Sheena, yeah, she cheated with, but that was with the star at that time, and she wasn't really seeing anyone. So, but Katie, I would not be surprised if she hasn't cheated. She most likely cheated in her past. Prior to Schwartz, most likely. Most definitely. During with Schwartz, while being with Schwartz, I want to say no, but you never know. For all we know, there might be stories that might come out there. Someone might come out and eventually, say something. Maybe. I don't know. But with that, it's an interesting aspect from there. Now, the one thing, though, I was really surprised to see was the number of endorsements that Ariana is getting from this. I don't know if this is a good thing that came as a result of this, quite honestly, because think about it. If not for this and Ariana not looking like the way she was, would she be getting all these endorsements? Like, would she be getting the Uber One Eats? Would she be getting that Big Shaver thing? Would she be getting the Sophie or SoFi, however you pronounce it, commercial endorsements? I think she's getting a Bloomingdale endorsement as well, and I think there's another one out there. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a couple more. And she even said on Watch What Would Happen Live after the Scandoval episode, talking about, oh, hey, I would love to be on Dancing with the Stars. If she gets on that, that solidifies her. That goes a little beyond more than 15 minutes. And you know what? I would not be surprised if she comes out with a book. I would not be surprised at all if she comes out with a book. And to be honest, the fact that this is happening, I would not be surprised others are going to try to, piggyback on that and, write her coattails a little bit. I mean, honestly, I would not be surprised if Sheena doing that, Lala doing. I mean, honestly, right now, those two, Lala and Sheena, having their own podcast, they're pushing this out. They're trying to get this out there as well too. And honestly, I was like surprised. I thought Jax would come back. I don't know if he is. I didn't see that episode where he's like, I'm the one that, it's my show. It was also the same thing with James, which was really surprising in part 2, where he said basically like, if not for me, like I would have came no matter what, and they said like, well, you slept with. So basically, Lisa called him out saying like, you slept with Kristen again on the show. So how is that any? And we know Raquel slept, went with him basically, and it all stems back to Lala sleeping with Randall at that point, getting a car and all that stuff. She said she never slept with him the first time, even though in prior episodes she's done. So yeah, but in any case, the fact that James is like, I am the show, I'm the reason why. No. Well, yes or no, but in reality, I doubt it's because of him, honestly. Because like, if it is him, please leave it in the comment. If you're watching the show specifically for him, please leave it in the comment section. But in reality, it's the conglomerate of all of them, basically. That's what it is. It's the conglomerate or the consolidation of all of them, or the aggregate of the whole, basically, that makes the show. Let's be honest. Stassi, Kristen, and Jax, love to see them back on the show as well, too. Bringing them back brings much more drama at that point, quite honestly. And Jax thinking like, and the thing is, these guys all have egos. If these guys spun off into a different show, question is, will anyone watch it? It's hard to say, because quite honestly, some of the servers, bartenders, etc., not as charismatic per se, or not as animated as this group is, and I think Bravo's recognized that. Lala, I think I don't know if this is her real personality, to be quite honest. I mean, that would be surprising. You know what? I think they've learned to, like, you've got to ham it up for the cameras and play off into the cameras themselves to get that aspect of being famous and all that stuff. I mean, quite honestly, Lala coming onto the show, James coming onto the show, what's her name? Raquel coming onto the show. I mean, that's a given at that point. I think the only one that really didn't truly care about being on the show, it seems like Schwartz doesn't care. But at the same time, he still wants that fame. Because, like, I haven't seen him capitalizing on being on VPR. That's the real weird thing. He hasn't capitalized entirely, per se, because they were thinking about the bar. I think he's just thinking about it. That is one thing I could say. The Schwartz is a selfish little sucker, basically. He's selfish as hell, quite honestly. And that's why I think the marriage failed from the start as well, too. I mean, quite honestly, he was selfish enough to the point of, like, he was so weird about others and how his persona or his perspective, how his persona was perceived by others. He was worried about them more than his own wife, basically, at that point. So I think that played a huge factor. And quite honestly, I mean, the fact that, Katie was pissed off. Katie can talk as well, too, honestly. It's like, this is Schwartz trying to be friends with Brock. And she's like, well, how are you going with Brock over me? There was that episode, basically, where they were in Cancun, in the restaurant. She was pissed off that he was hanging out with Brock more than her or something like that. I mean, they're friends, but, like, he's allowed to hang out with people. I mean, he's allowed to hang out. Like, why are you restricting him from hanging out with people? I mean, if you don't like this one person, okay, you don't have to, like, interact with them. But granted, it's all group thing anyways, but they're still, like, why? What's wrong with that? I think it's more of a case where, like, Katie does have a double standard. Straight up, she has a double standard. Katie, Lala, Kristen, and Stassi, double standards, hypocrites. Big time. But it's not to say Lisa Vanderpump, also a big hypocrite as well. So you see that show. I mean, like, I've never seen the OC, Real Housewives of OC. But from what I'm being told, she loves the drama. She loves to either see the drama and be a part of the drama, but not be the cause of the drama. She'd rather be part of it as to choosing sides, but cause that drama. And she knows full well by being on the show and being on, OC, the OC, as well as RHOC, as well as the Vanderpump Rules. It garnered her a little bit enough fame that her properties, i.e. restaurants, are becoming a little bit more famous and, more popular at that point. So, I mean, it's hard to say, with Sheena, how she goes in from that perspective. I mean, it's one of those things where I don't know. I mean, it seems like both Ariana and Sheena are the good people in this case, but it's too good to be true that they're that good. I mean, they all have flaws. We'll admit that they all have flaws. Sheena, I think it's a perspective of the fact that she was more involved with their relationship. It made me wonder. I was like, what's going on here? And like, it's one of those things. I feel, there's even cases where she's like, I introduced you guys, blah, etc. Basically, and Ariana, I mean, she's got that conceited aspect. Let's put it that way. She does have that conceited personality, but it's not geared towards her friends. It's geared towards those people that are against her. If you come at her, she'll go that conceited route and boom, go after him basically at that point. I think, I'll put it this way, by next season by next season, if all this stuff, if her 15 minutes are still going and she's milking it, she's probably going to get an inflated ego, just like Lala, just like Sandoval. She's going to get an inflated ego and she's going to think she's the better of all of them. She's going to try to create something as a result of it, whatever it may be, etc. Basically, I would not be surprised. I mean, honestly, if I were her, if I'm in this situation, I would get a book out ASAP. Try to push it out there as quickly as possible to garner that attention, because something about her, the whole aspect of the swag that they had, or the merchandise, garnered $200,000 when they first came out. It's impressive, but let's see what happens with part 3. I will say this though, with part 2. Like I said, it felt anticlimactic. I thought there was going to be more stuff, and I thought Raquel was going to come there in the middle of part 2, but they're going to put it at part 3. I'm like, come on, that's like an hour of just her. I'd rather see an hour and a half of her with them interacting, or more of 5 hours. We'll have to see that in the extended scene, of course. I wish there was a part 4. Honestly, they should make part 3 2 hours long, so that like others can see what's going on at that point. But I doubt that's going to be. It's probably going to be an hour long anyways as well too. So I do have to go see the extended uncensored version of part 2 as well too, and see how that goes out, and see what stuff we missed out on. But outside of that, it's going to be interesting to see how the next season comes about. I don't know how they're going to do the next season. The amount of disrespect that is going towards Lisa, and the fact that Lisa has to be partners with the Toms, and these people are not going to be friends with the Toms. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. The real question is, like, I feel bad for Schwartz. The fact that he knew, he should have told. Well, this is the other question that comes down to it for Schwartz. This is what it comes down to with Schwartz. If he knew about Scandoval, which is, in this case, he didn't know, the real question is like, is he at fault for not saying anything? Is he at fault? Because think about it. He's more Sandoval's friends than all of theirs. He's not close friends with everyone. Now, if he was married to Katie still, then yes, by that, he should have told her. He should tell her. But the fact is that they're separated. They're done. He had no obligation to tell her. The real question is, did he have to tell Ariana? If Schwartz was pushing Sandoval's, like, during them, I was like, if it's a one-off type, it's like, dude, you've got to tell her, you've got to tell her, you've got to tell her. Look, I found out my thing, when I had infidelities, it was found out immediately. You best tell her now. And if you're having issues, you might as well tell her at that point. You might as well break it off, etc. He could have done that. But in reality, I don't think Schwartz is at fault for not telling anyone else. Because I don't want to say the bros before hoes type of thing, but it's that perspective, basically, because he had no obligation to tell anyone, even Lisa Vanderpump for that matter. The real question is, of course, now we know that Sandoval has definitely cheated well before, and the Miami girl turned out to be true, which, essentially Ariana admitted. She said, yeah, I knew. She covered for him. Oh, interesting. Even though he never covered for her. And of course, there's that rumors that he had slept with someone else, which both he and Ariana knew. Sheena doesn't know, but if that's true, then chances are he slept with other people at this point as well too. I mean, like, the fact is, if their sex life wasn't that great, chances are then he was sleeping around at that point too. If he really truly loved her, it'd be a whole different story. The question is, if he was married to her, that's the other question I'm kind of curious about. Even though they were life partners, the real question is did he in his mind think it was like, you know what, I'm not married to her, so why be this? Even though we're in like, a same house, why be faithful at that point? I don't know if he's thinking that. I mean, if that's the case, that's kind of weird. In reality, because if that was the case, you should have just moved out of the house at that point as well too. I mean, buying a house together, living in a house, putting things under both your names, it's almost pretty much you're a married couple at that point. I don't know I'm kind of curious if he was married to Ariana, if there was an actual legal binding showing that he was legally married. I'm kind of curious, would he have still cheated on her? My money is saying yes, but I want to give, like I said, I kind of like to look at the best of people. So I might, part of me's thinking is like, maybe he would not. He probably would have divorced her then at that point. But I don't know. But with that, I'll leave it at that. I ranted a little bit more longer than usual. Sorry. I ranted a little more than usual. Please leave your comments in the comment section. I read all my comments and I do respond to when they warrant a response. When I do get notified as well too. I did notice in one of my videos I got a comment. It was pretty long and I'm like, okay, I got to read this thoroughly to respond to it. And then from the perspective of, do you think with Sandoval asking the cameras to stop recording, do you think basically that he was trying to do that, trying to get his story straight with her, basically just to make sure that's solidified before she came out? And the other aspect is like with James, do you think he has an inflated ego? Do you think, would you watch the show if James wasn't there still? If James was not there, would you still watch the show? If James went somewhere else, would you watch just where James went versus VPR? Same thing with all the other groups at that point as well too. Like if, let's say, a group of people, let's say Jax, Stassi, Kristen, Katie, Lala, they all decided to form another show, whatever it may be, and would you go see it at that point as well too? I'm not sure if that way. Honestly, I don't really care. The only reason I'm watching this is because of the whole Scandoval situation, trying to isolate where it was, how it happened, how could this have happened, and how did Bravo, the production crew, miss this? But with that, I'll leave that. And if you enjoy my video, enjoy my content, or enjoy my channel, please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. If you hate it, but still want to watch and just riff on me and basically write, you're welcome to write negative comments. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And also with that, if you can like or dislike the video to know if you like this content or not, so I can focus on it a little bit more. I need to know which content to focus on a little bit more in my channel, quite honestly. Some of them have views, some of them don't, but I don't like to do clickbaiting. But sometimes, I don't like to do clickbaiting. I could say whatever the message should be. But in any case, it's not me hating on these people, but it's more of like, I'm not a reality TV person, quite honestly. You guys might think I'm like, oh, he's hating on all these people. He's hating on these reality TV shows. Yes, in a way. It's because the thing is, the reason why I'm saying that is because looking from your angle, looking from my angle, these people are acting like fools and they're making tons of money. We're here not doing that, not having the ability to get on reality TV, but we have to watch them and make them more famous and more money where we're not getting money. It was the same thing with the Real World. After the Real World started coming on, I think after Miami, whatever, Miami or Hawaii, not Hawaii, I forgot the show. Might have been Hawaii. I think that's the one where Tech was on. When they all started getting outrageous, I'm like, wait, these people are making money just for being fools? I could be a fool and I could make money. Why can't I make money just being a fool for like that? And that's one of the nice things I liked about Impractical Jokers. For the first couple of seasons, it was more of them making fun of each other, but at the same time pulling pranks on unsuspecting people at the same time as well too. And now they're famous and they're making more money at that point as well too. Honestly, could that be done in the interwebs? I think it can be done. Creating those type of things basically, and just having that following. But with that, I'll leave it at that. Again, leave your comments in the comment section, and with that, I'll leave it at that. Unfiltered, unedited, and of course, always unrehearsed. Until next time.